Thank you.
Let's go to Mark from Newport. We haven't heard from Mark from Newport for a while. What's going on, Mark?
Hi, David. Thank you for taking my call. I wanted to know your opinion. I'm sure you've seen, I know recently there was the Pew Research study that showed the decline of religiosity in the U.S.
Yes.
And I personally am worried about some of the resulting societal consequences.
Mm.
But I wanted to know your thoughts.
Well, you'd have to tell me what consequences you're worried about.
Sure. So I guess a couple things. So according to Pew, the same group that provided the first set of numbers, is they said, for example, religious people are overall happier, they overall have better health outcomes. There was an Ohio State University study that said controlling for socioeconomic status and race and income and age that religious people live longer. Um, University of Indiana said religious folks give more to charity, which is true, again, controlling for all of those factors. Excuse me, Harvard Medical School said that religious people suffer significantly less mental health problems. So, but I guess to be clear, I am not saying that the only way we can improve those categories is through religion. I'm saying that the decline in religion is pulling the rug out from so much, and I don't think we'll be able to pick up the pieces as fast as they're falling, if I phrase that okay.
Why do you think that the states that have a lower percentage of folks that are religious seem to be better off economically in terms of education, in terms of health outcomes, in terms of mental health? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think looking between states is actually not controlling for enough variables because
Mm,
like you're not accounting for like the state level governance. So what I think controls like best isolates the variable of religiosity is looking within specific states where you're holding constant governance, history, that sort of thing. And when
that's
looking at
fair.
specific states, which holds more variables constant, in every metric I just gave, religious people turn out better.
Yeah, I've just not seen that data. Everything I'm looking at has at minimum failed to demonstrate that it is because of religion that some of these differences exist. But I've not even seen the data you're citing, so I would have to look into it. But a big picture, I'm not worried about it.
Sure.
And when we look at countries that are less religious as well, you could make the same argument, which is, well, the countries that are less religious might, for other reasons, be have happier people, so to speak, or whatever the case may be. But I've just not seen the data that
Right.
you're citing, so I'd like to look at it.
Sure. I think that what you just said is very interesting too. Like so for example, I think the obvious example is Western Europe, where religiosity is far lower than Eastern Europe, and Western Europe is much happier. But then I don't think comparing um, England, for example, to a former member of the Soviet bloc is a great comparison. But looking in a lot of these countries, so like for example, this is like what the Pew data demonstrates when they look at religious folks within specific countries who are holding variables constant, that within any or most countries, religious folks are happier.
Yeah, that was not my takeaway from the Pew study, but it has been a little while since I looked at it. So I'll review the data, Mark, but a very interesting question that you're bringing up.
Yeah, this is like I think the fifth time you've accepted my call, so thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, Mark, very good to hear from you. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we will be hearing from him again. Let's go next to our caller from the 973 area code. Who's calling today from 973?
Dave Femi.
Yes, it is.
Hi. So I was just kind of curious why you don't hear a lot of left-wing positions being argued from a right-wing perspective. And my example in this would be something like climate change, where we typically focus on things like the science and stuff that often gets put up for debate in the mainstream media, but you never hear something like a lot of our national enemies, like Russia, Iran, or Venezuela, their economies are very heavily dependent on hydrocarbons. So the best way to attack them would be to take out their economies. So you never hear things like that. I'm just kind of wondering why.
There's actually a big debate about this, about whether it makes sense to argue for our policy based on arguments that would be appealing to the other side. And it's not clear to me that it's a good idea. I've read really good arguments on both sides. One being, yes, we should, even if there are arguments in favor of a policy we want that don't match up with our priorities. If it's going to influence someone else, we should still make those arguments. But then there are lots of other folks, like, for example, Nathan J. Robinson, who I interviewed, who said he said he thinks it's a bad idea, that we should be arguing for the policies we believe are the right ones for the reasons we believe that they are the right ones. So I think first we have to, when you're asking why don't we hear it more, first we have to figure out whether it's a good idea. And it seems to be an open question at this point, at least on many issues.
Okay, good. Yeah. Do you mind if I ask one more?
Go ahead.
So I was also wondering what the impact of weather might be on the upcoming Democratic primary with El Nino coming up for 2020, whether or not more inclement, colder weather could potentially impact candidates who have less voter enthusiasm. So someone like Joe Biden might be hurt more than someone like Bernie.
Well, it's certainly conceivable, but I would we can't control that. And either way, if that's going to be a factor, it's going to be a factor. I don't think it's one of the. It's fine to speculate, but I don't think it's very actionable one way or the other.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
All right, appreciate the phone call. Thank you.